Jordan, a couple of questions for local BBC. First off, is there a particular hole this week in the course you've enjoyed, and if so, can you talk me through it? What have you got a favourite hole out there?
The hole? Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, the fifth hole is great, isn't it? I think they did a great job with the pins and with what the wind conditions were going to be. And so if you took it on and hit a nice shot, it was a birdie hole, and if you didn't, you had to play it really safe, even from a chip shot. So it was a great drivable par four, which that's super exciting for us.
And on the fans, both inside and outside, how have you enjoyed the fans on the course? And
they're the best in the world. Yeah, I mean, the Open always has the best fans in the world. Most knowledgeable. We have these giant grandstands. This is one of the better viewing, I think, Open courses because of the dramatic topography. So you get a lot of better view. Some Opens would be very hard, I think, for a spectator to view if you're not in a grandstand. But here, you had all the par threes. You had some great spots for people to see, and all the par threes were really awesome this week. So, yeah, I mean, this is one of my favorite Open venues, and but in general, the crowds at any Open are typically the best in the world.
And lastly, for me, any experiences outside of the course that you've enjoyed this week?
I got in late, this week, and I didn't really get to venture out much, but I did the last time I was here in 19. I was here a little early and was able to be in Dublin for a couple days and then go up to Portrush early before we played. But this year I didn't really have the luxury, so hopefully next time.
Lovely.
You obviously grew up with Scottie. When you see him play like he does now, I think you predicted, didn't you? You said, wait for Scottie, he's going to be some player. When you see him play now, what do you make of his life?
I wouldn't give myself credit. I mean, obviously he was he won a U.S. Junior, like he was a great junior, but I don't remember necessarily saying. I think maybe after the Ryder Cup, after watching him when he beat John, and then he came and won in that playoff in Phoenix, it was like, okay, well now he knows he didn't have to do anything different, and he's good enough to win any week. So. Yeah, as anybody would be pretty surprised if he wasn't the one holding the claret jug at the end of the day, and he's obviously well deserving of it, probably the most deserving player of it. And I thought, the way that his game is, the last few years, the harder the conditions, the better for him over here. So if there's ever a chance for someone to take him down, it's when it's benign like this. But I mean, he's putting so well this week, and so I'd have a hard time thinking anybody else will get it done.
Shane said that if he had a swing like Adam Scott, more people would be comparing him to Tiger the way he's played over these last 2 or 3 years in terms of his dominance. Do you think that's...
Yeah, I think more so I think maybe it's less the golf swing. I think it's more of his personality. He doesn't care to be a superstar. He's not transcending the game like Tiger did. He's not bringing it to non-golf audience necessarily. He doesn't want to go do the stuff that a lot of us go do corporately, anything like that. He just wants to get away from the game and separate the two, because I know that he at one time felt it was too much that he was taking it with him, and whenever he made that switch, I don't know when it was, but he has hobbies. He's always with his family. They're always doing stuff. So I think it's more so the difference in personality from any other superstar that you've seen in the modern era, and maybe any sport. I don't think anybody's like him.
Does he have, though? He obviously has the will to win, but he sort of says it disappears after 2 minutes. When you play with him, is he? And you've obviously had Ryder Cup teams, you've been with him, and you've known him since he was young. Is that intense will to win there, or does he detaches himself from it and then relaxes him?
Well, yeah, he has that unique ability to, from best I can tell, to separate. But again, when I see him, I'm at the golf course. I mean, I see him here and there off the course, but when we're playing on the course at home, he shit talks. I mean, he's very witty. Yeah, of course, he's very witty. You can't really go at him because he's smart, and he's got good bullshit, and so he'll. He's.
What will he say to you?
What's that?
What will he kind of, what kind of things will he say?
I mean, it's not necessarily just to me. Like, it's normally other people that we're playing with. But yeah, I mean, not that I want to say it. I'll let him say it. I'm not going to quote him on that kind of stuff. Me? Oh. But yeah, I mean, but then, when a tournament starts, he's He's incredibly competitive, as you see, and you know, but it also, you know, he's kind of plodding along. It's hard. You won't see that much emotion as he continues to strike it like this, because the only time you're going to see it is when he's on the greens, if he, you know, misses putts, because he's not missing many shots. So, yeah, I wouldn't necessarily think that the golf swing makes as much of a difference as the personality match. I'm thinking about so many other sports, and Nikola Jokić, he's the only guy I can think of that's a superstar that's equally unassuming in any sport in the modern era. And I'm happy if anybody else can find another example, but it's very rare. Most people lean into it and take advantage of it. Federer he went very. I mean, he's maybe the same kind of demeanor in person. That doesn't mean you're like, as a person is different, but I mean he made more off the court than he did on all the time, and he cared to.
Yeah, fair point.
And when Scottie's done playing, he's not going to show back up at tournaments, and I can promise you that.
And Ryder Cup, we're not that far away. What do you want to do to?
I gotta win.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta work my way in. I mean, I think statistically I'm playing good enough, but I'm not finishing high enough, and I didn't have enough points to get off to a good start from last year, and then I essentially missed 4 elevated events, and it's based on money, and that's a killer. And so I needed to make it up, and Hartford was really a dagger for that, because I was playing well coming into it. I felt really good off of Oakmont, felt like Hartford was a good track for me, and then I just had a random spout. And so that was a huge bummer. And then I knew I was going to have a few weeks off. We were having a baby, and you know, so I just dropped in FedExCup. It was just you know, poor timing. Hartford really stung, and so I was putting a lot on this week, but I just was really rusty to start, and so this was going to be. I thought if I finished high here, then you know, I could ride it off, and you know, so it wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but I also couldn't really expect to come in and just, you know, play like I had just finished third last week. You know what I mean? It's just, I only played 2 rounds of golf in the last 4 weeks. And so I'm going to have to probably add an event and work my way as far as I can. I think if I can make it to the Tour Championship, that means that I've played well in the playoffs and big events. And it may come down to if Keegan picks himself or not and opens up a spot. It may come down to how other guys are playing that are on the bubble. So I know if I can get somewhat close, I mean, I feel like I'm in similar to even a little better position than Justin was in 23. You know, he was outside the playoffs altogether, where I think maybe if you go off recency bias, you know, I would have been playing better this last half of this year coming into the end of this year. So, you know, that gives me hope, but also remember who was on the receiving end of when Justin got picked. So that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, they're going off the stats guys and they're going to pick the best 12 guys. And, you know, do I think I'm that right this second? No, but do I think I can be that by 3 weeks' time? Yeah.
And people talk of the nappy factor as well, don't they? That, you know, sometimes when you had a baby, a lot of golfers win a few weeks later. So
if I was playing better, then I could have won this week. No, I don't think it just comes out of nowhere. Scottie was the best player in the world, had a baby, played a week late, you know, a couple weeks later, and he was still the best player in the world. I'm working my way up from surgery, and it's seemed to be better every couple months. I'm getting more consistent, and I still feel that way.
What are you overall pleased with, and where are you lacking? Misses don't seem wild.
My misses? I mean, I only had a couple that were more than 5 yards off the fairway this week out here, which is, you know, which is nice. I didn't get away with the ones that I did. I did get away with a couple scooting bunkers, and then I hit it in a few of them. But I'm pleased with the consistency of the striking. I feel like if you asked me to hit any shot right now, I feel like I've got confidence I can pull it off, chip a 7-iron, do stuff that I'd been struggling with. But man, if you count any time I had a putter in my hand, even off the green, I think I had 13 3-putts this week. So, and then I've had maybe 5 or 6 times I had a wedge in my hand around the green within 3 yards of the green and didn't get up and down. I mean, that's 15, 18 shots. I'm not saying I'm going to get them all in, but for me, that's normally a strength of my game. And that just comes down to pure rust and probably not playing the week before, where you get acclimated to kind of bounces. And I mean, the turf plays a little bit different, and there's only so much you can get on the practice green. It's very different on the golf course. And it was also in speed control. I putted 2 of them off the green, chipped 3 of them off the green. Just bizarre stuff for me that when I hit them, I didn't think they were that bad, and all of a sudden, they're bad.
Wyndham is the one you like?
I think so. I'm just going to have to see what. It'll depend on how everything's going at home, and it'll depend on, you know, if I think it's going to be incredibly useful. I mean, missing these last Hartford and then the 3 after, I mean, I dropped like 11 or 12 spots in the FedExCup, and that 50 number is an important number. And if I can continue to not be on the outside looking in and instead, you know, go have a strong week leading into the first playoff event, I'd feel better. And if I start to play really well at Wyndham on and I make it the Tour Championship, that's only 4 in a row, which the only bad part of that is having a newborn at home. 4 in a row is not a big deal. And I can make trips home in between, I guess. So.
A couple of questions. Yeah, so just can you talk about how excited you are to go back to Birkdale next year, and just why is it so unique?
Well, it's actually, I think here and there are the 2 most similar open venues that are different from the rest, because I think that they're played more from the air than they are true links on the ground. There's not many areas that you can bounce and run it up at either course. So, you know, in that way, I at least know what is expected, but it'll be really cool to just go out there and play the course again. I haven't been there since. It'd be cool to relive the memories that I had from the whole week. And obviously the last 5 holes or so. So that was probably the best, most clutch stretch of golf that I ever played. So anytime I'll go back there in the future, you know, I remember exactly what I was looking at. I remember how I felt. It'll come right back to me. Thanks, guys.